In the ancient kingdom of Oyo, strange signs began to appear before the birth of a special child. The sky thundered and lightning danced in the clouds, as if the heavens themselves awaited his arrival. Prophets and diviners spoke of a prince like no other, a child whose spirit was intertwined with the elements of nature. The elders of Oyo believed that the prince would not only rule the kingdom, but also reshape the world around him. His birth was heralded as a divine event, and the people eagerly anticipated the day he would come into the world. Shango, the child of prophecy, was born into both royalty and divinity. His father was King Oranyan, and his mother, Queen Torosi, descended both from great lines of nobles with deep spiritual connections. This unique blend of royal and divine blood made Shango more than just a prince. He was destined for greatness, blessed by the gods themselves. Shango was born with the power to command the elements, a gift that would set him apart from all who came before him. From the moment he was born, the Orisha, the gods of the Yoruba people, bestowed their blessings upon Shango. Ogun, the god of iron and war, granted him the strength and skills of a warrior. Obatala, the god of purity, gave him wisdom and a sense of justice. Oya, the goddess of winds and storm, who would later become his wife, that's a story for another episode, blessed him with control over the weather. Esu, the trickster god, gave him mastery over fire and knowledge over balancing chaos with order. With these divine gifts, Shango was destined to rule not only as a king but as a god among men. Even in his youth, Shango's immense power was undeniable. As a child, he would summon lightning and command storms, and the people of Oyo quickly recognized his supernatural abilities. By the time he reached his teenage years, Shango had already begun training under his father, learning the ways of combat and the spiritual mysteries of the world. His strength and bravery were tested when the kingdom faced a series of devastating attacks by terrifying monsters. These creatures, born of curses and sorcery, wreaked havoc across the land, but Shango stood firm against them. At the age of 15, Shango proved his might by single-handedly defeating a giant beast that threatened Oyo. In front of his people, he called down lightning from the heavens, vanquishing the creature with ease. This victory solidified his status as a hero, and soon after, he began to hunt and destroy other monstrous threats to the kingdom. His mastery of both physical and magical combat earned him the respect and admiration of all, and his destiny as a ruler of Oyo became clear. As king, Shango wielded his power over the elements with unmatched authority. His reign was marked by prosperity and security as he defended the kingdom from both human and supernatural threats. But with great power came arrogance. Over time, Shango's victories and control over the forces of nature began to cloud his judgment. He grew proudful and reckless, using his power to strike fear into the hearts of his people, rather than protecting them as he once had. Consumed by jealousy and paranoia, eventually turned against his most trusted generals, Timi and Gubonka. Fearing their growing popularity, he orchestrated a plan to eliminate them, seeing them as a threat to his rule. In his rage, Shango unleashed his full fury upon the generals, causing untold destruction to the kingdom he had sworn to protect. It was only after the battle, when he stood amidst the ruins of Oyo, that Shango realized the depth of his folly. His pride had led him to nearly destroy everything he loved, everything he had built. And so, in the aftermath of the battle, Shango stood among the ruins of his kingdom, his heart heavy with the hate of his own downfall. He looked around at the shattered homes, the terrified faces of his people, and the kingdom that had once thrived under his rule. In that moment, he realized how far he had fallen, how his pride and arrogance had turned him from a protector into the very force of destruction he had once fought against. There was no coming back from this. Some say that overwhelmed by his own power, Shango was consumed by the very lightning he once controlled, disappearing in a flash of thunder and storm. Others whispers a different tale, that Shango, knowing he could no longer be the king his people needed, gave up his throne, walking away from his mortal crown. The elder gods, moved by his repentance, elevated him to the ranks of the Orishas, not as a king, but a divine protector. Now, they say, he watches over his people from the heavens, forever wielding the forces of the storm, not in anger, but in eternal vigilance. As the old saying goes, the thunder may roar and the lightning may strike, but the storm is always Shango's reminder of power, of loss, and of a God who once walked among men.